Jungkook's anger flared as he confronted Wine in the sterile hospital corridor. Jungkook, yeah, how could you do that, Wine? How can you be so careless? You broke my trust. I thought you considered Unni as your own sister, but Wine, her eyes filled with worry, pleaded. Jungkook, please listen to me. You are misunderstanding me. Jungkook, raising his voice. Oh, really? Why? Tell me that you didn't know she was taking drugs. Tell me. Whined nervously. Yeah, but Jungkook, cutting her off with a shout. Shut up, Wine. Just shut up. If you knew this, and if you really wanted her good, then you should have told me before. But you just let her take drugs. Jungkook's accusation cut through the air, blaming Wine for his sister's condition. Jungkook, you are the cause of my sister's condition. You are responsible for everything. She tried to commit suicide only because of you. Tears welled up in Wine's eyes as she tried to explain. Jungkook, with a loud shout, leave Wine! Wine desperate. But Jungkook, Jungkook's voice thundered. I said leave! Don't show me your face again! Wine, with a shocked expression and tears streaming down her face, watched as Jungkook stormed away. Once he left, she remained, her world crumbling around her. Jungkook headed to the hospital room where his sister was admitted, carrying the weight of the emotional storm that engulfed them all. You left from there and you were really feeling hurt and heartbroken because he didn't trusted you. He didn't even listen to you. You left from your home where you used to live before, and you don't live with your parents as they live in another city. You sat on the floor crying and crying. You wanted to tell him something important, but Wine's POV. Why, Jungkook? Why can't you trust me? I thought no matter what the situation was, you will always be with me. You will always trust me. I didn't expect it from anybody but you, that you will stay by my side and support me, understand me. But you started crying more. Your eyes and face turned red. Wine POV. I know you love your sister so much, but you should have at least listened to me, Jungkook. In the hospital room, Luna, Jungkook's sister, weakly opened her eyes to find her parents and Jungkook by her side. Jungkook visibly worried. How are you, Unni? Are you feeling better? Luna managed a weak smile. Yes, Jungkook, I'm totally fine now. Jungkook sighed in relief, but Mrs. John had questions. Mrs. John, daughter, why were you taking drugs? Luna looked down, hesitant. Jungkook explained with concern. Jungkook, Mom, it's because she was depressed, devastated by her recent breakup. It hit her hard. Mrs. John concerned. Depressed? Why? Jungkook, because she was deeply invested in that relationship, but it didn't work out. Mr. John looking at Luna. Still, that doesn't mean you should try to end your life. Life has ups and downs, Luna. We need to learn to survive these situations. Giving up is not the solution. Jungkook nodded. Jungkook, yes, Unni, you did wrong. How can you do that? Didn't you once thought about us? Luna, I know I did wrong. Please forgive me. I realized my mistake. Jungkook, yeah, good. And please now take care. You are getting discharged. Mr. John, this early? I mean, don't she need any medications? She is still looking weak. Luna smiled. Dad, I'm fine. Jungkook, yes, and we came here yesterday evening, and now it's afternoon, Dad. Mrs. John, yeah, go, Jungkook. Complete the formalities and let's take our daughter home. She smiled. Jungkook nodded and he was about to go when Luna spoke. Luna, Jungkook, where is Wine? Jungkook looked back at her. Luna worried. Speak, Jungkook. Where is my sister-in-law? Jungkook, actually, Unni, she had some important work in office, so she left. Luna nodded. When Mr. and Mrs. John looked at Jungkook worriedly, but didn't spoke anything. Jungkook went outside and completed all the formalities when Mr. John came to him. Mr. John, Jungkook? Jungkook looked at him. Mr. John, where is wine? I know that she didn't went to office because she will never leave Luna in this condition. Jungkook looked down and then at Mr. John. Jungkook, actually dad, I told her to leave. Mr. John worried. But why? Jungkook, what why dad? Don't you know that because of her, Unni was in this condition? She should have told us about Unni that she is taking drugs, but Mr. John placed his hand on his forehead and looked at Jungkook in disbelief. Mr. John, Jungkook, you. Mr. John sighed heavily. Mr. John, I really hope you don't regret. When Luna and Mrs. John came and all went to home, Jungkook went to his room and locked the door. He sat on the floor, supporting his back with the bed when he looked at your picture hanging on the wall, and tears welled up in his eyes. Jungkook's POV echoed with confusion and hurt. Jungkook POV. Why wine? I thought you loved me, trusted me, but you didn't tell me about my Unni's condition. You left her to die. Why? Why Unni loves you so much, but still you did that? Jungkook sighed, grappling with the emotions turmoil within him. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. He quickly wiped away his tears and went to unlock the door. Opening it, he found Mrs. John standing there. She entered and closed the door behind her. Jungkook, what happened, Mom? Mrs. John, concerned. Yeah, Jungkook, I also want to ask you. What happened to you, huh? Jungkook looked at her, his confusion mirroring her. Mrs. John, concerned and disappointed, confronted Jungkook about his recent actions. Mrs. John, you were not like this, Jungkook. What happened to you? I thought you loved wine, but... Jungkook confused. Mom, what are you saying? Mrs. John, your dad told me that you told her to leave. How can you do that, Jungkook? She is a part of our family. She has all the rights to stay with us, to take a stand for her family members. Jungkook, but she didn't take any stand, Mom. That is the problem. Mrs. John, did you listen to her? Jungkook looked at her and then turned his gaze down. Mrs. John, don't you know why? Will she ever try to hurt Unni or anybody? Will she? Jungkook looked at her, the weight of realization settling in. Mrs. John's words cut through Jungkook's defenses, each one delivering a heavy blow to his conscience. Mrs. John, we all know that she is a kind-hearted and caring girl, but when she needed you, your support, your trust, your understanding, you left her alone? Is this your love, Jungkook? Every girl expects that her husband, her love, will understand her, support her and stay by her side, no matter what. But what did you do? You left her alone? You didn't even listen to her. Wow, Jungkook, very nice. The weight of guilt settled on Jungkook's shoulder as he realized the gravity of his mistake. Mrs. John disappointed. You know, I used to feel proud that you are my son. I felt blessed that my son is so smart and mature, knowing how to handle every situation. And when I saw your love for wine, I thought every girl deserves a man like Jungkook, caring, loving, supporting and understanding. But today, you've proved me wrong, my son. Tears welled up in Jungkook's eyes as Mrs. John left. He lay on the floor, crying bitterly, haunted by a sudden flashback. In the vivid flashback, Jungkook's heartfelt word echoed through time. Jungkook smiling. I love you so much, Wine. Wine smiling back. I love you more, Jungkook. Jungkook. I love you more than anything. You are my world, Wine. Only you are in my heart. Wine with sincerity. And you are my heart. I can't live without you. The day you leave me would be my last day on this earth. Jungkook chuckled, attempting to lighten the mood. Jungkook, alright, let's end these cheesy lines now. Wine serious but smiling. But mark my words, Jungkook, the day you will leave me, Jungkook quickly covered her mouth with his palm. Jungkook, I know, and I will never leave you. Even if you try to push me away, I will always stay by your side and we will live together, enjoying our journey together. The warmth of that memory now contrasted sharply with the cold reality of the present. In the present time, tears streamed down Jungkook's face as the weight of your words echoed in his mind. I will die the day you leave me. His heart raced, propelled by a newfound urgency. Grabbing his car keys, he hastily made his way outside. Running downstairs, he encountered Mr. John's inquiry. Mr. John, where are you going in such a hurry? Jungkook, I have some important work. He hurriedly left, leaving Mr. John to exchange a knowing look with Mrs. John. Mrs. John smiling. I know his important work. Mr. John also smiling. Yeah, I know too. I am happy that he realized his mistake early. Mrs. John nodded, a shared understanding passing between them. On the other hand, Wine POV. I should tell him the truth. I don't care now. I should tell him the truth. It's really important for him to know, or else you quickly picked your car keys and went outside. You both were on your way while Jungkook was really feeling uneasy as your words were coming in his mind. Jungkook in mind. I'm sorry, Vine. Please, God keep her safe. Please, I'm not having a good feeling. Worry etched on his face. Jungkook started to sweat, consumed by the fear of what might unfold. Meanwhile, Vine remained resolute, determined to lay bare the truths that weighed heavily on her conscience. Vine, I know he is angry on me, but this is important. I don't even know that he will believe me or not, but I should keep my ego aside and tell him the truth. There is no ego in love. Vine POV. I was driving when I saw a car behind me. I mean, it was stalking me when I came outside of my apartment. It was standing there, but when I started driving, it is following me. I am now feeling scared. I should reach to Jungkook as soon as possible. Where is my phone? I should call him. I picked my phone and called him while driving, but he was not picking my phone. Why? Yeah, please, Jungkook, pick my call, please. I was calling him continuously, but he was not picking up my calls. When I saw a car stopped in front of me. Vine's POV. I quickly stopped my car when I saw some men wearing black coming out of it. I decided to go back, but behind me there was that car standing from where two men came outside. They were all wearing black masks and they were holding guns. The road was all silent. I was really getting so afraid, but I continuously calling him, but he was not picking up my calls. I locked all the doors of my car when a guy holding a rod came in front of my car and he broke the front mirror of the car. While other men were surrounding my car, I was sweating so bad I thought that it is my last day when they all targeted their gun in my direction. Author's POV. All the men suddenly started shooting. Wine was shot at the head, arm, stomach, chest. When all the men went inside their car and went from there, Wine was laying dead, covered with blood inside the car. On the other hand, Jungkook was feeling so uneasy, he was getting so worried when he saw Wine's car in between the road. His heart raced so much fast when he saw the car all broken. He quickly went outside the car and ran in your car's direction, but his heart almost stopped when he saw you laying dead covered with blood. He was feeling his world shattered. Tears streaming down, he quickly opened the car door and pulled you outside the car and picked you. He was holding you tightly. Jungkook's heart shattered as he reached Wine's lifeless body. Tears streamed down his face uncontrollably and he clutched her tightly against his chest, as if trying to breathe life back into her. Jungkook whispering through choked sobs. Wine, no, please no, wake up. It can't end like this. You can't leave me. Not like this. I love you so much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Wine. I should have trusted you. Please open your eyes. Don't leave me alone in this darkness. He rocked back and forth, cradling Wine's lifeless form, his voice trembling with heartbreak and guilt. His world had collapsed in an instant, and he felt an overwhelming sense of despair and loss. In a desperate attempt to salvage any hope, Jungkook laid Wyan's lifeless body in the car and raced to the hospital. What would happen next? Who was behind this attempt to murder? Wait for part 2 and subscribe to my channel.